If you want a thorough dirt test of the BMW Motorrad off-road flagship, the R 1300 GSA Trophy X, you've come to the right place. Last year I rode thousands of kilometres on the new BMW 1300 range in some of the toughest environments in Australia. In my quest to get to know and understand this new model, that's had an upgrade equivalent to a heart-lung transplant, I've taken this bike where most Beamer riders fear to tread.
Fuck, I made it!
For those new to Motorcycle Adventure Dirt Bike TV, we do three things on this channel: long-form motorcycle adventure from all over the world, mouth-watering bike builds, and of course thorough tests of bikes with a little bit of fun thrown in for good measure. If you like what we do, subscribe.
Onto the dirt, Murray's Run Road, lovely part of our adventure riding circuit.
We're on board the new GSA Trophy X on the type of dirt this bike eats up for breakfast. Over the years, the GSA model has developed a legendary reputation in Australia as an awesome outback super tourer, and I'm keen to establish if its dirt reputation is still intact. There are huge differences between the previous 1250 model and its 1300 successor. Social media discussions are focused on aesthetics, starting with that cross-shaped headlight and finishing with the, shall we say, bulky presence. For me, that's all a distraction. The main event is under the bonnet, or should I say 30-litre tank, where the equivalent of a heart-lung transplant of upgrade and refinement has been executed. The name of the game: make the bike stronger and along the way more agile and responsive to rider input. The list of modifications is long and impressive and includes a completely new frame and redesigned steering, relocation of the gearbox now underneath the engine, suspension upgrades and some tweaking of electronics. With all that going on, there is a risk that part of the heart and soul of the big Beamer will be lost. Anyway, time will tell as I undergo this review.
Picking up the GSA 1300s, one's a Trophy X, that's this one here, and Clubby over here has got the triple black. Where is it? Oh, there, wrong triple black.
The first day on the bike and I'm heading out with Clubby. He's riding a 1300 GSA triple black, so there'll be some useful comparisons by the end of the day.
We're away. The bike is fuel full at the moment and you can definitely feel the weight of that fuel on board, but you expect that.
We blast up the highway and then onto the blacktop. These bikes eat up those miles comfortably and effortlessly. Riders are snugly surrounded by a cocoon of still air. It's very easy to punch out an 800 kilometre day back to back on these bikes and not feel beaten up. And there's nothing surprising there. But today I want to push the bike in the dirt to get a real feel for these significant changes in frame geometry and steering.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm so glad we're out in the dirt in a place that I'm familiar with, just to dial myself into the bike. And I'm feeling much more at home on it. It's but it's very, very, very different to the GSA 1250, where you're kind of sitting more in the bike. Yeah, and you've got this kind of feel. This bike, you're more sitting on it. The steering geometry is different. And for those who have the old model, you're going to have to get used to it because it's more precise and it's more responsive. But as I'm getting into it now, and this is my first couple of hours on the bike, I'm starting to push myself a little bit more. And I'm happy with how the bike's responding. I'm happier with it than when I first started. The only thing for me is in tight technical stuff, my seat height is just too high. And if I own this bike, I get the lower seat option. And that's about it. Really starting to dial in. We haven't even mucked around with all the settings. It's an incredibly complex bike. At this stage, just getting the feel of it. To get the specs, piss the specs off, throw them in the bin, just ride the bike and see how it feels. I would say, though, the BMW GSA Trophy, and rightfully so, is far more manoeuvrable and responsive to steering input than the GSA. But at the moment, for God's sake, I'm holding probably 25 litres of fuel and I've got a range of 400 kilometres. So that's the trade-off, and you've got to go into that with your eyes open. The road that tests suspension.
Time to push the suspension with faster G-outs and jumps. During the day, I flip between the bikes on the dirt a couple of times. It's a great advantage having the triple black alongside the Trophy X for direct comparison. It becomes obvious very quickly there is a significant difference in off-road performance of the suspension of the Trophy X over the triple black, but that's to be expected. For a bike that weighs 270 kilograms fuel full, the Trophy X handles the tougher conditions competently. It's designed to take the rider on long, tough miles. And the strength of the suspension is that it soaks up the minor road perfections beautifully. These are the ones that wear you out. But then again, it still takes the bigger hits well, with the absence of jarring bottoming out. The suspension on this model is up 20mm each end on the previous GSA, taking it to 200mm on the front and 210mm on the rear.
Everyone's probably going, of course you knuckleheads, it's a suspension. But you see how hard I'm hitting it and how hard you're hitting it?
I'm not even going to try to hit them hard. It just feels softer.
Yeah, doesn't it?
And it's going to just come straight back through me, I reckon.
Yeah. That's it.
It's a big fluffy demonstration too, isn't it?
I can imagine all these audience just slapping the screen saying, you knuckleheads! The Trophy X has better suspension. But I still like the approach of not reading spec sheets before we ride. You can all go and get stuffed. All right, off you go. Yeah, a few of those holes have been hidden in the sun. Yeah, as soon as it starts getting rougher, I start getting the speed on. Yeah, I can carry far more speed. Getting on Clubby's triple black, I think the thing that really strikes me, oh my goodness, it's so much lower. Yes, it's so much lower. Tell me what you think.
I think that there is what a GS 1300 adventure is all about.
Right.
For me, that one, in that spec, in that formula, with that componentry and remember it's got a few mods on it, the Aquapovics and other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But for munching big miles, Yeah. Right? Just doing big distance.
Yeah.
All day, every day, in comfort, but without overt, shall we say, off-road end of the scale type aggression.
Yeah.
That one is what makes sense to me.
Yeah.
This one, they've always had a variant, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's a little bit, I want to say slimmed down, but that's totally incorrect expression, but relatively speaking.
Yeah.
It's like, and like the minute you get on it, your ass is higher with the higher seat,
Yeah.
flat seat, doesn't impede movement, throttle,
No.
aft.
Yeah.
So for more aggressive body positioning,
Yeah.
the shorter screen, lower profile, and they're the two major physical mods other than suspension between the two of them that I understand thus far, yet it does give you a total different impression of how this is to be ridden compared to how that will get ridden. 1300 Adventure,
Yeah.
like there,
Yeah.
ride all day.
You do that all day.
And not as in, it's not, it doesn't, this you get on and you think, oh, right, I've got to wring its neck. Or not, or relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Whereas that's the tourer, the
Yeah.
grand tourer, if you like. This is the sports tourer. Maybe that's an analogy.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked on that. Like, that to me is a true GS adventure.
Yeah, I like riding it. The thing I liked about it straight away was the seat height and the way that...
Well, it's just all makes it manageable, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes it manageable.
You can reach the ground.
When I first got on this one, I felt a tiny bit intimidated simply because that seat height is very high. But yeah, as I've said, if I had this bike, I'd have the lowest seat on that.
Yeah.
The lack of momentum. That's pretty good. Use that body a little bit. No, that's nice. All the way.
Over the years, one of the great strengths of the GSA is its slow speed ability in the tough stuff that defies its size. It handles slow well. The 1300 GSA continues that tradition with an excellent match between throttle response, clutch control and low centre of gravity. Although I did notice the centre of gravity of this GSA is slightly higher than the 1250 model. Engine power and performance of the 1300 is up on the previous 1250 model. It's not a new engine, it's just tuned differently, with the bulk of the power developing at a higher rev range. One of the strengths of the 1250 was the tractor-like grunt at very, very low revs that helped riders in the slow stuff. Some of that low down grunt is gone, but there is still stacks of it. In the tough stuff, you want that centre stand out of the way. The new design is excellent. The full trials video can be found in the link in the top right hand corner of the screen.
Fuck, I made it! That is... I love the way that clutch takes up. So gentle and refined. Really makes a difference when you're in stuff like this. The clutch is a fair pull, like I'm doing this with one finger at the moment. Yes, I think a lot of people would do it with two.
Traction control and ABS settings on this bike are truly outstanding. I'm about to grab a fistful of front brake at 100 km per hour on a gravel road.
How was that? I mean, that is unbelievable. Last time I did it at 90 kilometres an hour. This time I did it at 100. Sorry about the locusts, they're crazy here at the moment. You just grab a handful of brake and the bike just sits and stops. You couldn't stop that faster by yourself, you know. Amazing off-road ABS on this bike. Just brilliant.
If you want more information on traction control and ABS, I've done a number of other videos, so see the links in the top right hand corner of the screen. The bike is jam-packed with features and I'm not going to go through all of them, that's for your midnight reading. but there are some that caught my eye. This button gives access to grip heating, windscreen height, traction control and damping, and they can all be altered on the fly.
With the windshield right up, the air goes straight over the top of my helmet and it goes past my shoulders. So it's a very comfortable setting. I mean, what I find myself doing, because I'm not getting buffeted, is it just reduces your fatigue. Like it's a very comfortable ride.
Acro sounds beautiful. It's a dual acro, you know, a lot of bling, but an expensive bling, but really sounds beautiful. Now let's go along here a bit, and I love this feature. This is the back brake lever. When you're on the road, you put it like that. When you're on your dirt, you twist it around like that. I just ride with that like that all the time. The rear brakes have great feel. I'm really impressed with them, and they always have had on the Beamer. Just brilliant brakes. Keep coming. Now here's a neat little one. Now you want to put up the centre stand. You pull that out, and that's for your centre stand. So your boot doesn't get hooked on that, so you just fold it away. So that's a useful bit of kit. Now I haven't used this yet. Oh no, it comes up on the stand really easily.
How do you find the new 1300 GSA?
Well, to me, it's obviously they're a big bike, 269 kilograms. That's fuel full, so it's got 30 litres in the tank.
Yep.
And look, some people say it's kind of blocky looking, but there's some bit of smart to that. And I'll show you. You see this? Here's the radiator, right?
Right.
And normally on big bikes, all that hot air gets pushed onto your legs.
Right.
But with this, it shoots it straight out that way.
Okay.
So it's quite
an
cool.
advantage for sure.
So it is in traffic.
Yep.
But there's something that's not good in traffic, and that's this extension on the guard here. Like it sticks out too much, and I really wouldn't want a lane split. This tank bed is 12 litres, so it's a huge amount of volume in there. But when you're in the dirt, it prevents you moving forward. I'd prefer to be more further forward on the bike, and I just can't be because of this bag. But the funny thing is, I keep using it. I keep using it because it's incredibly handy. It's like having a boot on the bike. It's amazing, 12 litres. Now the other thing with it is it's really easy to get off. So you just pull that, and that's it, and it's off. And on, bam, bam, it's on. Now, I've got one beef while we're here. Not many beefs on this actually. This is one. Trying to get
the side stand?
stand down there. Do you have that problem?
Yep, especially with big boots.
So,
Yep.
BMW, if you're listening, can you just extend that? It just needs, what, 3 mil?
Yeah, not much.
3 mil,
Just
4
enough
mil.
to stick it out a little
I
bit more.
try to get my boot in there. It catches on here.
Yep.
And I try to get it in, and yeah,
Yep.
see? Yeah, so Beamer, if you're listening, come on, just bring that out. 5 mil. That's all it would take.
Yep. It's tight.
Well, that's my take on a dirt-oriented test of the BMW 1300 R GSA Trophy X. If there's one thing I've learned from thousands of kilometres on the new Beamers, they are all very different beasts. The Trophy X has proven to me it's a competent off-road outback super tourer with surprising agility when it gets nasty. For those not so keen to kick it in the dirt, the Triple Black is more touring oriented and jam-packed with features. The one that we rode had adaptive height control, which drops seat height a handy 3 centimetres when stopped or riding slowly. Combine that with a low seat and many riders will find comfort being able to place their feet firmly on the ground. And in the background there is the much smaller tanked GS Trophy, a svelte design that takes full advantage of the redesign of frame and steering geometry. Compared to its predecessor, this model's handling in the dirt is next level. Next time we meet, Nugget and I are in the Victorian high country riding Honda CRF 450s with Woody and Elise of Elwood Motorcycle Adventures. This promises to be an action-packed and funny episode. I'm Dave Darcy and you've been watching Motorcycle Adventure Dirt Bike TV, and as Nugget would say, keep your filters clean and your throttles on. A huge thanks to Nosh Mystery for helping me do the camera work with this video, and of course Andrew Clubb, long-time contributor and the editor of Australian Adventure Bike magazine.
Oh, hi, how do you find the new 1300 GSA?
Well, to me, it's obviously they're a big bike, 269 kilograms. That's fuel full, so it's got 30 litres in the tank.
Yep.
And look, some people say it's kind of blocky looking, but there's some bit of smart to that. And I'll show you. You see this? Here's the radiator, right?
Right.
And normally on big bikes, all that hot air gets pushed onto your legs.
Right.
But with this, it shoots it straight out that way.
Okay.
So it's quite
an
cool.
advantage, for
So
sure.
it is in traffic,
Yep.
but there's something that's not good in traffic, and that's this extension on the guard here. Like it sticks out too much,
Right.
and I really wouldn't want a lane split.
Okay.
I've noticed when I've gone between trees, it's actually further out than the handlebar width.
Okay.
So
That could be a trap for...
yeah. I have heard a whisper that a few people have taken out the edges of cars with it.
Yes.
I took out a tea tree the other day. I saw this tea tree go like that. Yeah, but look, overall, it's got that. It's different to the previous one, the 1250. The 1250 seemed to have a lower torque, like a tractor-like torque, low down, and it seemed to have, to me, and I can stand corrected, this seems to have a slightly higher centre of gravity than that one.
Okay.
But it's still got all the BMW about it. It handles in the dirt really well, and obviously it handles long distance well.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that particular model have the adaptive height control?
No, this one doesn't have the adaptive height control.
Right.
So we've got another one on loan at the moment, and we couldn't bring it up today, the triple black.
Yep.
It makes a huge difference.
Okay.
Like if you're a little tiny bit shorter than me, the adaptive height control really works well. And on the trip, this one has a high seat,
Right.
and it's a tiny bit high for me. And if I had my way, I'd actually have the lower seat on that.
Yep.
But yeah, Clubby was riding the one with adaptive height control, and he loved it. I had a little bit of time on it, and I'll be frank with you, I felt more comfortable on that, and you felt lower in it. But that may be because this seat's just a bit too tall. It kind of raises you up. You kind of sit more on the bike than in it.
Right, yep.
Yeah.
I was considering one primarily for the adaptive height control function.
Yeah.
But even for me at my height, I'm finding I need a low seat.
Yeah.
It's more beneficial for me.
Yeah.
Particularly maybe off-road,
Yep.
on a bit of a camber on the road.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes...
I'm finding that at the moment. Like, as I said, I'd have the lower seat if this was my bike. But yeah, I urge you to try the triple black. That one comes with it. I think the basic GSA comes with it. I mean, there's so many different variables.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd give it a run. Yeah, I reckon it'd be good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, the engine's great. The engine has got more punch than the 1250, but that meat of that engine is slightly moved up,
Right.
in the rev range.
Yep.
But handles beautifully, does dirt well. The only thing, if you're riding in the dirt, I just make sure you get good tyres like these
Right.
dual sport ones.
Yep.
Well, thanks, mate. Thanks for interviewing me. That was a bit of. Now, what's your name?
Thanks very much, Gary.
Gary. Gary's just interviewed me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.
What was your initial impressions of it when you saw it?
It was quite different to
It's
the
confronting, isn't it?
1300, like standard 1300.
So you've seen photos of it.
Yeah.
And now you see it in reality. What's it like?
It's not as bad as
What
the
it looks-
impressions of
Yeah.
what you see on the
You're not the only one. You're not
on the
alone.
media photos. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So there you go. It is better in reality, but
Yeah.
not pretty. Not pretty.
I need a closer inspection though.
All right. So any features you want to know about it? Anything you want to know about it?
Oh, just the fact that they've had gearbox underneath.
Yeah. So the gearbox on the 24s is now under the engine, so it centralises mass. But the reason that they really did it was to change the steering, to make the steering stronger. And what's happened is it's more precise and more responsive. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they've put a massive amount of resources from the research I've done into the whole redesign. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
What they do with motorcycles.
Yeah, it's like they said, stuff it, let's redo that.
Start
let's
from
fix
the
that.
ground
We've got
up.
the engine's right, all the other stuff's right, let's just get that frame geometry right. And they've nailed that. I reckon it's much better.
Does it feel top heavy because of Does it feel top heavy because of that massive tank there, or esky?
I'm going to start by comparing it to the GS 1250 because I spent a lot of time on that. I'd say to you, the GSA 1250 seems to have a lower centre of gravity than this. It seems to, but I might be being put off because I've got the high seat. Right now, if I had the lower seat, it might change my view, but I'd have to say,
Yeah, but when I bought my 1300 over my 1250.
Yeah, so you've got both.
Yeah, what I noticed was that the 1300 was harder to take off the side stand because of that lower centre of gravity on the 1250.
So you're picking it up.
Yeah, so when I when I first tried it, and I took it off the side stand, I noticed that the 1300 was a little bit harder to take off the side stand than the 1250.
Yeah.
But what I'm also, and I'll ask you this question: do you think, and this is just a theory, that they're gearing this towards the tourers and gearing the GS, so the GSA to the tourers and the GS to the off-roaders?
I'm with you on that. I'm with you because I've just ridden that the trophy, the standard GS trophy across the top of Australia, and it was amazing in the dirt, amazing on the outback, and really strong. When I get on this, it has, compared to the previous GSA, the 1250, it seems to have a more tourer feel. And then you've got these, I mean, they always come with these, but you've got these luggage racks.
Yep.
And this tank bag, yes, it's an optional extra, but they've got the mounts for it. That's a bloody big tank bag. And in the dirt,
that's in the way.
It's in the way.
Yeah. And there's no opportunity to put soft luggage on, really.
No, not in this spec, but you can undo those.
That's right. But then you got to, can you get racks for it?
Yeah.
So I really don't think this is, one of the reasons why I think this is more for the tourers than the off-roaders, is because there's no room to put crash bars here, as opposed to the lower ones, which is why they put that lip there.
Yeah.
To hold it up more, to protect this part.
Right.
And when you've got the soft luggage on, which is what I imagine they're geared for here, then that's going to soften the blow in the fall. But it makes lane filtering hard. Because it's a lot wider than the bars.
I won't lane filter on this. I'm not going to lane filter. I was in Tea Tree Swamp the other day, and normally I have a good appreciation of where the bike is and its physicality, and all of a sudden I'm seeing Tea Tree going boom, boom, boom. They're moving away, and I'm just clipping them, only by an inch, but they're going, they're moving,
How do you find the new telelever suspension?
There you go.
The new telelever suspension on the front?
Yeah.
Is it a noticeable difference?
It is a noticeable difference, and most importantly in steering. So it's more precise and more responsive. Now you've got it.
Yep.
You reckon?
Look, I've got the 1300 GS triple black.
Right.
And the first long ride I did was trying to go up to Cameron Corner.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But the road conditions were a bit crap.
Yeah.
But as soon as I took it off the dirt, because that was the first time I took it off road.
Yeah.
Once we left Orange, totally different.
Yeah.
I found it far more responsive off road.
Yes, it is.
Far more responsive on road.
Yes.
Than the 1250.
Yes.
Because I know that on the 1250 I probably would have lost it a few more times than I did on the 1300. I just found it that little bit more stable off road.
I found it confidence inspiring. I felt the steering improvement is significant and would actually shift me. If I had a 1250, I'd actually move towards the 1300 because of that improvement in the steering. Comfort, yeah.
Was better on the 1250 than the 1300.
Yeah. It's more.
I felt like I sat in the bike on the 1250. On the 13, I feel like I'm sitting on top of it more.
Yeah.
I appreciate the smaller feel of it.
Yes.
Makes like you said, more confidence off road.
Yeah.
Whereas the 1250, I felt more comfortable in it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, the 1250 GSA, you're in it. You're in it, and it's quite funny. The cockpit, you walk up to it, and there's a physicality to it, and then you get in it, and it all shrinks down.
Yep.
And with this, it doesn't shrink down.
No. When I sat on this in the dealership,
Yeah.
when I saw it, because I took my bike down for a service, and I sat on it, I felt like this bit here was all the way down, at the end of the road somewhere.
Yeah.
It just felt like, compared to the 1250.
Yeah,
like you said, it was the 1250 GSA.
I don't know if it's because of visual cues, but at the end of the day, there is some smart functionality to this. You've got to have 30 litres. Where the hell do you put 30 litres? So that gives you, theoretically, 500 case range, practically, I think, around 400.
It's impressive.
But the other thing, it is impressive.
Well, that fuel anxiety is a nightmare.
Yeah, say that again.
That fuel anxiety is a nightmare.
Yeah, I agree with it. I hate fuel anxiety, particularly on a big Beamer.
Oh, terrible.
But what do you get out of it? You get these beautiful, air being pushed away, and so the bike is actually cool to sit on. To sit on. It doesn't generate the heat. Yeah. In fact, there was a lot more heat coming off the GS Trophy, the 24 model.
Yep.
Off the. Yes.
How the bloody hell is little Nugget going to ride this beast? I'd love to see him on it.
Nugget is not going to ride this. I reckon. Even if we
design him a special seat.
Yeah, it'd have to cut the frame out. It'd have to be about there.
Yeah, that's
cut the
all right.
frame
They
out.
can manage that.
Yeah,
because he'd be a weapon on this thing, I reckon. The little Nugget. We love him.
If he stops, he's going to get squashed. Whatever, squashed Nugget.
For a while,
Yeah.
I've fallen in love with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, the 1300, I absolutely love it.
The 1300s are a step better. They're definitely a step
Because I know a lot of
better.
people online have sort of said, it's not what it used to be, and blah, blah. I just find it a lot better.
Yeah.
It's a much better
The
bike.
GSA, I'm on the fence with the 12. I love sitting in the Rhino.
Yep.
And I don't know what spirit animal name this is going to get. I did a survey with my YouTube audience, and they said bison. So they said it looked like a bison.
Right, okay.
So,
Good-o.
and the other one, similarly uncomplimentary, was Legoland.
Yep.
But throw away the looks, it actually does a cracking job.
Yeah.
You can bang out big miles.
It's a shame they didn't reduce the weight on it, though.
Yeah, well...
They added a kilo rather than took it off.
Just 1 kilo. One go.
That kilo can make a difference.
We're funny as consumers, though, aren't we? Like, we're so spoilt for choice.
Yeah.
But we all have these little idiosyncrasies.
So
we like this, we don't like that.
Yeah.
But we're so spoiled.
On balance, after having ridden this for a week and a half, and I've still got another week and a half to go, it's a cracking bike.
Yeah.
And like I've been doing big miles, and it just knocks them out of the road.
Yeah.
It just punches them. Because that electronically, you wouldn't have that electronically operated screen.
Yeah, I do.
You do.
I've got. I had my bike fully optioned.
All right.
Yeah, because I knew it was the last one I was going to buy fully optioned. my next one, I've learnt my lesson. My next one is going to be pretty much the trophy or the.
All right,
the
so
X.
more dirt oriented because you're in the dirt.
It's a beautiful looking bike, that trophy.
But I just wanted to spoil myself as I head into retirement.
Yeah, well, see, I've just retired, so I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Anyway, see, that's your first interview.
Yeah, first time I've ever met you.
Don't stick to radio. Come on TV with Mad TV.
Radio.
I'm the one in radio.
Yeah, there you go. He is in radio.
Was in
Head
radio.
like mine, I probably need to be in radio.
All right. Nice. How was that?
Saying about me.
There you go.